iPhone 16 versus 16 Pro. The Pro model is the much better choice this year, right? Well, it's actually not that simple because this year, Apple made the regular iPhone 16 the most compelling upgrade in years by adding new features like camera control, 25-watt MagSafe charging, and more, but as for the 16 Pro upgrade this year, not so much. I've been testing and using both of these phones for the past 2 weeks, and I've put together a list of 10 real-world differences that you're gonna experience on a daily basis if you choose to upgrade, so let's get started. First of all, the regular iPhone 16 just feels so fresh this time every single day. Every time I pick this thing up and I look at it, I have to do a double take to look at this new beautiful camera bump redesign, which looks great, and the new colors like ultramarine on the regular 16 and teal that we have for the 16 Plus. They just look so nice. But the 16 Pro looks literally the same as before, especially in this white titanium finish. It literally looks like an iPhone 15 Pro, and honestly, quite similar to the 14 Pro as well. And that actually matters a lot in everyday use, feeling like your phone is fresh, which you get with the regular one. Now, I know most people don't upgrade every year or even every 2 years, but if you buy the regular 16 with the new camera bump, you have a unique iPhone design that was only released this year, and that really changes how it feels. Now, the second real difference you're gonna notice every single day is actually the bezels. I've been getting used to the 16 Pro's super slim bezels. They look absolutely amazing, but when I start using this iPhone 16, I just can't stop noticing how thick these bezels are. The iPhone 16 Pro, on the other hand, is so immersive. It feels so nice, so premium to have bezels this thin. And this is really the only way to tell this model apart from the previous 15 Pro, but most people might not even notice it. But to me, this matters a lot, and I really, really love it. These bezels on the regular 16 bother me so much. It just feels like it's one of those old phones that's not as premium. But of course, if you're upgrading from an even older iPhone, your bezels are probably even thicker than this, so it might not be a big deal to you. Moving on to real difference number 3, we have the extra camera on the back. Yes, that's the telephoto, which this year, it got a major upgrade from 3x to 5x with Apple's unique tetra prism lens design, which accepts more light compared to the periscope cameras. And by the way, it's absolutely amazing to have this. First of all, you get an extra portrait mode setting, 5x portraits, which look absolutely beautiful. You get a completely different, more natural look to them. And of course, you also get 5x video recording, where it's very stable with stabilization. And I love it because you can record videos like this one of my son playing soccer with his cousin. And of course, zoom photos are much more detailed, like we saw in Ben's comparison video. Some crazy differences there. And you get a lot of background compression for those photos and those portraits, where it looks really, really nice compared to having the 1x or 2x mode, where you have a lot of distractions in the background. And especially if you get really, really close to your subject, it kind of distorts the shape of the face, whereas the 5x camera makes it look really natural and professional. Now, one of Apple's biggest mistakes was ditching their iconic leather cases, but thankfully our sponsor MOFT sent over their new lineup of MOFT leather cases, which use premium soft touch vegan leather, which doesn't fade, giving you drop protection with really nice clicky buttons and a cutout for the camera control, as well as soft microfiber lining on the inside with built-in magnets for MagSafe accessories like their snap-on wallet stand, which I've been using for the last 4 years, ever since MagSafe came out in 2020, since it holds 3 to 4 cards and works as a finger grip and a stand in portrait, landscape, or floating mode. And the best part is that it comes in 18 different colors, including these ones which match the MOFT cases and new iPhone 16s, like my wife's favorite color, Misty Cove, which perfectly matches her new white titanium iPhone 16 Pro. Honestly, guys, I can't recommend this enough because it truly is the best wallet replacement out there, and I'm never going back to anything else. So go ahead and check out the links below to to order today. Now for difference number 4, even though the display quality and brightness is identical on these two phones, which is kind of crazy, this one does have a little bit of a larger display, 6.3 inches compared to 6.1, but the 16 Pro has a huge advantage with 120Hz ProMotion technology, while the iPhone 16 still has a 60Hz display, which is just embarrassing in 2024. The iPhone 16 Pro's display feels so much smoother when you're swiping, when you're scrolling. Even the text itself is easier to read while scrolling as well, which is cool, and the animations are super smooth, whether you're swiping around or just looking at the dynamic island with all the animations it does, and the new camera control animation as well looks so much smoother on the 16 Pro. Now moving on to real difference number 5, the 16 Pro actually has a bigger and better main camera sensor, even though both of these are marketed as 48 megapixels. First of all, you actually get a little bit better quality in low light when using the main camera with the 16 Pro. You get less noise and more detail, which is one of the things that we noticed in Ben's camera comparison video. The 16 Pro also supports the night mode, portrait mode, which greatly improves the quality of portraits, and it looks very nice as well with the blur, thanks to it having the LiDAR scanner, which the 16 doesn't get. And on top of that, the LiDAR scanner also improves the autofocus performance, especially at night, and especially for video as well. Just look at this example of me moving my hands in front of the camera. The 16 Pro does a better job with autofocus. On top of that, this 48 megapixel sensor is also new, having a sensor readout that's 2 times faster, which now allows slow motion recording at 4K 120 FPS, which let me tell you, it looks absolutely beautiful, and it's quickly becoming one of my favorite video shooting modes. And on top of that, it also has a log video recording as well for the pros out there. For difference number 6, they both have the USB-C port, but the iPhone 16 still has the super slow 480 megabits per second transfer speed that we had with the old Lightning port, which is so slow that it makes sense just to use AirDrop instead. But on the 16 Pro, it's 20 times faster at 10 gigabits per second, which has allowed us to record video clips when we're out doing events like CES and transferring them to our MacBook for editing super fast. And on top of that, we actually started using these little MagSafe SSDs where you can plug it in and record directly to the SSD itself, so it doesn't fill up your personal camera roll with a bunch of work footage, and all you need to do is plug it into your Mac to start editing. This is a really big deal that might not be a big deal for everybody, but for us, it's huge. Next up, for difference number 7, we have the performance. Now, surprisingly, this is the smallest performance difference between the regular and Pro iPhones in years, since the A18 and A18 Pro chips both have the same exact 6-core CPU layout with the same cores, but the regular 16 did technically get the bigger upgrade year over year, since the previous 15 had the A16 chip, which is 2 generations old, so you're getting a bigger boost this time. But now in graphics performance, the A18 Pro has an extra GPU core, so it's almost 20% faster, which is a really big deal, especially for gamers, since Apple also upgraded the thermal system on both of these phones. However, when we tested the 16 Plus compared to the 15 Plus, the stability didn't actually improve because the 15 Plus's A16 chip didn't really overheat anyway, while on the 16 Pro Max, that had a massive upgrade in terms of stability, since the A17 Pro was throttling like crazy due to overheating. But as far as this comparison goes, the 16 Pro is so much better for gaming thanks to 120Hz ProMotion that lets you enable 120 FPS mode for super smooth gaming, so it's definitely the better choice. Now for difference number 8, you have the 48 megapixel ultra-wide, which didn't make that big of a difference when you look just at your iPhone, but when you zoom in, you could definitely see that there is a lot more details. We even noticed some differences like at night where the lights looked a lot better. The only problem is that when you use macro mode, it kind of switches off the 48 megapixel resolution and crops into 12, so you don't really see a difference in quality. But if you just turn on the regular ultra-wide camera without macro mode, then you could actually get the 48 megapixels with HEIF mode. But the biggest disappointment for me is that video recording didn't really improve since it still has the same sensor size, so the low light footage still has some noise, which kind of sucks, but overall it's a nice update. Now for difference number 9, we have the always on display, which is really nice on the 16 Pro because it makes it feel really premium having the display be always on, showing you the date, the time at all times, as well as seeing when you have notifications, which to me is a big deal because I used to always miss my wife's text messages. It would just sit there for an hour and I'd be like, oh crap, I missed it. But now you can see it at all times when your phone is sitting there on the charger or the stand, which is really cool. Now I've got to say the widgets really help as well. It just feels a lot more premium in general compared to having the phone just completely shut off. And finally, for difference number 10, the 16 Pro just feels so much more premium in general thanks to the titanium metal chassis, which looks and feels great. But the biggest deal is that it makes the phone heavier and more solid, while the regular 16 kind of feels cheap and too light in my opinion. So overall, the 16 Pro just feels much more polished and professional, which I absolutely love about it. So with that said, those were 10 real differences that I've noticed after 2 weeks of use. Let me know your thoughts down below and which one you would personally choose. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Definitely subscribe above for more videos like this and check out Ben's camera comparison right over there. We'll see you in the next video.